Showdown. Putin is ignoring the threat of Islamic terrorism and instead saying the biggest threat to Russia comes from far-right Nazis. Does this sound familiar? He'll have a great career post-politics as a Guardian columnist. He's gone woke. And Lee Anderson exposed the myth of institutional racism in a hilarious grilling of the fire brigade. We've got the video of this. You won't want to miss it. And in Conspiracy Corner, Hollywood superstar Millie Bobby Brown is still wondering if the Earth is flat. This is your Saturday Night Showdown. And discussing all tonight's topics with me are my brilliant panel. Joining me tonight are comedians Suzi Kennedy and Nicholas DeSanto, and the lawyer and broadcaster and general polymath Andrew Eborn. I'm joined tonight by TV personality and broadcaster, comedian Nicholas DeSanto, Suzi Kennedy, also a comedian, and the lawyer and broadcaster Andrew Eborn. Now, Andrew, I mean, I know you've been following Russia.
I have.
Following what's going on there. I mean, do you think Putin is actually, for all the people on the distant right in the UK and in America say that Putin is some sort of, he's standing up against wokeism. Well, he's actually just as woke as leaders here.
It is extraordinary. And firstly, what a surprise it was. 87% of the vote. We should congratulate him on getting yet another term.
It was only 87%.
Only 87%. How dare the 13, the unlucky 13.
Over 100% easily.
I would have thought so. It is crazy, isn't it? Because they turned around on March the 7th, you pointed out, the US Embassy in Russia said there's an imminent threat from Islam. This is what's going to happen. Islamist extremist is what they were saying. And as soon as it came out, I was watching the news today, basically they're saying, oh, it's all to do with Ukraine. Because it's Ramadan at the moment. There's no way they would be doing these atrocities. It is quite extraordinary. It's that broken record with that narrative. But this is what he wants to do. He wants to bolster the people against Ukraine, and so you're peddling that message. Now,
I've got to, before I go to the rest of my panel, I've got another monologue. I did 2 monologues this week.
Oh, look at you.
I did 2. So I've got to squeeze them both in.
Hey.
Now, Suzi Kennedy, you've joined us. You're a comedian. You're also a woman.
Oh, hey, look at you! How funny!
And I have noticed that I'm the only woman out of 3 men.
You say that.
You don't know how I identify.
Yes,
that's true. But you know what? This is the thing. It's like the be kind movement, right? Be kind to that man who thinks he's a woman, right? I do believe in being kind to people, but can you be kind to me? Because I actually want to get changed without you getting changed in front of me. With respect.
And I understand. I understand
and I don't want to be
that.
called a bigot.
And I think, if somebody had was approaching the situation in good faith, like that man wouldn't be in the female changing rooms if he was being fair, and if he was, because even if he does identify as whatever, he doesn't look like a woman. You know what I mean? Well, you can't just put a dress on a.
Well, the thing is that I definitely don't look like a woman in the gym. I don't know what I look like, but I don't look like me.
No, neither do I, actually. It's funny how that happens.
Crap, and you want to be somewhere safe. And I don't know what's going on with that guy. I pray for him. You know, I wish him the best. Trans people do deserve rights, but women deserve safe spaces. The two can be true. Anyway,
coming up, we will assess the week's winners and losers in Kearse or Blessed, and we'll show you what happened when these people drove across bumpy ground a bit too quickly.
Tell you when I see you again.
Welcome back to the Saturday Night Showdown. The Kearse or Blessed is coming up, but first I promised I would show you what happened when this car hit a bump.
Tell you when I see you again.
I love that. I love the build quality.
Ah, fantastic.
The made by build was
made by IKEA, wasn't it? They just didn't screw it in properly. I love it.
It looks like
glorious.
it's a bit of duct tape holding that on.
Hey.
and you need a bit more. Anyway, it's time now for Cursed or Blessed. Me and my brilliant panel will look at 3 big stories and decide who are the week's winners and who are the losers. The first one tonight sees Lee Anderson take on the fire brigade. Now, we're told over and over that this country is languishing under the yoke of institutional racism, that all our organisations discriminate against people of colour and unfairly elevate white people. Well, the Dorset and Wiltshire Fire Brigade boss, Rebecca Knox, claimed that her service is institutionally racist. This week, the no-nonsense Lee Anderson put some straightforward questions to her to see what she's basing this claim on. Let's take a look.
Chair, just a couple of quick questions, please, for Councillor Rebecca Knox. I think you was in agreement that your force was institutionally racist. Is that correct?
I agreed with the report, the independent report, and so did the Chief Fire Officer accept the findings.
Okay, so
of that
can you
report.
please tell me, Councillor, what unfair advantages white people have in your force?
I would hope not. None. Not advantages. Did I hear you?
Yeah, do they have any advantages?
No.
So then how can you be institutionally racist?
Sorry, I might have to get back to you.
I mean, that's incredible. So she brings out a report saying, yes, this fire service, our fire brigade is definitely institutionally racist. When asked to justify, just to explain one little way in which it is institutionally racist, she can't even justify or mention one little thing. This is insane, isn't it, Suzi?
Do you know what's funny about that? It reminds me, you know, when you have an argument with your wife, right? And they go to you, and you go, oh, I'm sorry. And they go, but what are you sorry about? And you go, oh,
yeah. I just want you to not be mad at me anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, say one thing, and you're like, I'm sorry for what that thing you just said. It's just really painful. I mean, it's coming from a good place, right? Racism's horrible, but when he's like, what is it? And she's like, can I get back to you? It just reminded me of that argument.
But that's, I mean, Nicholas, it's interesting that Suzi says it's coming from a good place, because it ostensibly is coming from a good place to reduce racism and all that sort of stuff. But really, this worldview, this myth of institutional racism is used to justify horrific laws, diversity coordinators who control everybody's lives, hate crime laws that control our speech and are used to persecute political dissidents, and the diversity, equity and inclusion rules that are written into every organisation.
The heart might be in the right place, but the brain is not functioning. And as you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So when everything is racist, then nothing is racist. The same holds for, Nazi and Hitler. It has lost value because, as long as you love your country or you're for a bit less immigration, you're automatically a Nazi. Well, I was reading the report about this, and they have accused their own force of, having ingrained or entrenched levels of misogyny or racism in the personnel. And I don't know what they mean by ingrained or entrenched levels of misogyny. Do they believe that men are better at, carrying other men out of buildings engulfed in flames? Because then in that case, I might, be misogynist as well.
Well, we can try it in the studio right now.
I think we can.
Andrew carry one of us and Suzi carry the other one.
I think that's a good idea. I'll carry you, you carry Leo. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Any other day, I'd rather be carried by Suzi, but not.
I understand. That's so sexist. You can't say that. It's outrageous.
By flames.
You make a brilliant point, though. It is devaluing the genuine racism. We're so quick to slap on labels, aren't we?
Where is this racism?
Well, I'll get back to you on that. I'm so sorry.
I'm always being told, oh, Britain's such a racist.
Oh, I
Miss
know.
Kumar even
It's
said that
rubbish.
invented racism, which is a complete nonsense. I'm sure there was tribal, conflict before Britain.
No, you're absolutely right. It's the school of hard knocks. I felt she was obviously told to, as you say, tick the box, admit you're being a racist. Where's the evidence of that? Well, I don't know. I have to come back to you. I'll find some. We'll find a racist. I'll bring them here next time. Absolutely. Extraordinary.
So racist, somebody needs to let all those illegal immigrants or risking their lives to get here know about it. Maybe the boats will finally stop.
Yeah, so actually sending people to Rwanda will be for their own good, because Britain is such a horribly institutionally racist place. Anyway, next on Cursed or Blessed, we know that Islamist terror group Hamas are losing the war with Israel. You might think that this is because Israel's military are bigger, better armed and better organised, but this Islamic scholar knows the real reason behind Hamas's failure. Let's have a look.
But there's going to be sins in process. You'll be sitting next to a guy who's going to go and penetrate and sodomize another guy tonight. And you're gonna...
So this guy, this Islamic scholar is saying that the reason that Hamas are losing is because they're allowing gays to march in the pro-Palestinian marches, which is, I've heard similar theories from like the Westboro Baptist Church and things like that. But this really seems... I mean, we've got Queers for Palestine. They march against Israel. But now we've sort of heard from...
Queers are usually straight blokes, though, with just nail varnish on.
Yeah, like that guy who's in the changing rooms at the gym. But yeah, it seems that the love that queers have for Palestine isn't entirely being...
QPR, the Queer Palestine Rebels. I love it. I thought, forget the football team. I think the reality is just because you put the labels on it, it's complete nonsense. What it does is bringing out the abhorrent prejudice that there is on the other bits and pieces. And I think you're right. Hamas is a terrorist organisation. We've been so reluctant to call that out. And so you're losing it as a result of it. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, but do you think this will make Queers for Palestine maybe reevaluate who they're marching beside, given that, you know, if they were in Israel, they'd have equal rights and they'd be protected in law, and if they're in Palestine, they would possibly be...
Yeah, you think they'd think twice before, you know, declaring their love for Hamas or Palestine, or feminists for Palestine. But, you know, I'm not very hopeful. When I was young, I lost a lot of potential girls or girlfriends at university because I was in favor of the war in Iraq and in Afghanistan, right? And these other, you know, fellow university students...
Is it just that reason?
Pardon?
Was it just...
I was going to say, was that just the reason? You're trying to justify... It's my political views they didn't like. It's got nothing to do with like eating
Blame it on them.
I want to know how that topic came up.
Yes.
Tonight's final, Cursed or Blessed, is the story that's been enraging people all week. Nike's new England football shirt. Nike have decided to mess with the England's national flag. Let's take a look. This is what they will have on their shirts as they take on Brazil. The Brazilian players will probably think the wrong country's turned up. Some people have criticised this, but I genuinely can't think of a better way for the England team to show that this country has been taken over by non-binary genderqueer communists who hate us. Anyway, some people say the fuss is ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why those people don't post a picture of the Prophet Muhammad on their shirt and see if it's irrational to get angry when images are posted, Suzi.
I think this reminds me of a Del Boy episode where they've ordered the wrong shirt. And they've gone, right, what are we going to do about this? We'll just say we did it for inclusivity. Brilliant. And they've just, like, got all these people buying it. It's just... if this is the biggest problem in the world, we're really in trouble.
It is great, but this is why I wore the revised version of the thing. You've got the blue, the red, and the white. You made that make sense.
You need a tie going this way.
I can do it. I can go whichever way. It's got to be good. But the reality is, this is the flag, so you can't mess with it. You can't work on that sort of basis. You can't suddenly say, well, it looks a bit prettier that way, but put a bit of blue in.
Yeah.
It's the English flag. It's a flag. You work on that basis. It'd be nice if a little bit of gold speckle or something. It's just rubbish, isn't it? Absolute rubbish.
It's not a Pride Progress flag that you can add chevrons. Yes. Whoever's being represented this week. I genuinely think they've added a Palestinian chevron to the Pride Progress flag. I mean, you can make it up.
Well, it was already sad that for English people, the only occasion where they were politically allowed to wave the national flag and not be called racist is during football tournaments.
Yeah.
You know, that was already the situation, as you all know. Not even on election days, because the Labour MP would photograph that and tweet it and say, oh, look at these racist people in England having the audacity to put England flags on their windows.
The great news is we've got Harvey Elliott, the Liverpool star. He played with his collar turned up so nobody could see that's him from the front, I think. Have we got a picture of him with his collar turned up? I don't know if we do. But he played with his collar turned up so nobody could see the flag for the entire match, which it might have given him, you know, mild dermatitis on his neck. So, you know, he's really suffering for it.
Nike should charge more for the England flag.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go, the proper one. The proper one.
You pay up. Anyway, next.
That's the market.
I think they should put the Scottish flag in there. Why not?
Hey.
Next on the Saturday Night Showdown, Multiculture Corner. 2 religious festivals collide with Ramadan and Easter, but could halal Easter eggs bring everyone together? You won't want to miss this. Plus, I'll show you what happened when a little kit plane tries to take off on a rather short runway. Welcome back to the Saturday Night Showdown. Coming up, we have Culture Corner. But first, I promised I would show you what happened when a plane tried to take off from a short runway. Now, I'm not an expert on air travel, but I think that was a bad place to build some sort of sand.
I think you're probably right.
Hill.
I think it was the same place where they had the car, wasn't it, earlier? There's a pattern in tonight's programme. I think you'll work on airplanes and automobiles.
Vehicles just need to stay away from that particular field.
A train coming up later. It's got to be good. Work on that premise. Good, oh, what a thrill.
Now, your lunch break at work should be a time when you can relax for a moment and enjoy some well-deserved scran. But one man had to pack his lunch away after being berated by a Muslim co-worker for eating during Ramadan, which is obviously a fast. The man was also called kuffar, a racist insult. Let's take a look at the video.
Look at this kuffar. Everybody's on Ramadan.
I know, I actually feel bad for eating.
And this
I'm going to have to put this away, ain't I?
This guy's stuffing his face. This guy he just sat here stuffing his face.
Man, I feel bad for that guy. It's like, I mean, he just wants to eat his lunch. He's, you know, it's not his fault it's Ramadan. He's, like, being perfectly accommodating. But you know for a fact that if he actually spoke back and said, you know what, I don't care. I'm going to eat my spaghetti bolognese, and why don't you shove,
Spaghetti
you know...
what?
Spaghetti bolognese.
I thought you said something else.
No, well, that's what I said. I don't know, we spoke about Bologna a moment ago. But yeah, if he told the guy to shove it, he would be in jail right now for a hate crime.
Yeah, obviously. And he is, and forgive me for saying something hate crimey, but he is in his ancestral homeland. Can we say that nowadays? Maybe not in Scotland from 1st of April. But I'm slightly suspicious of that video because I hear the word Ramadan pronounced Ramadan with the final M, and also it says kuffar. Kuffar is plural. I don't want to be too pedantic.
Oh, right. So you're correcting the grammar.
Oh, I love it. I love your phrase, I don't want to be too hate-crimey. I think, what's that about? No, you're right. And if it turned around the other way, you also have to work out somebody's deliberately filming this. So you work on that sort of basis. Why are they filming it? Why are they filming this particular moment? Other than put the pressure on the guy who was already a bit apologetic. I'm saying I feel a bit guilty about eating my pork and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah, and most people want to avoid conflict. So
exactly.
You know, somebody comes in and says, listen, it's Ramadan, why are you eating your lunch?
Absolutely. And it's rather like drinking around an alcoholic or something. You turn around and say, they're on fasting at the moment, we can go somewhere else. But the fact that they're filming it, talk about fake or fact, the fact that they're not getting the words right, the fact they're a bit, whatever you said, racy, or working on that sort of basis, I think you're right, hate crimey. I love that. That'll be the new hashtag going around.
Ramadan, by the way, fasting is all about, you know, giving up daily and mundane pleasures so that you can meditate and do righteous things as opposed to going around and harassing your fellow colleagues.
Yeah, I feel like that guy was kind of trying to Ramadan our throats a bit.
I think you see what you do.
Thank you, Suzi.
That's a good one.
Thank you. I mean, you're a Christian.
I am, and do you know what? I like, you know, I'm a bit different on this because, one, I'm not so sure about this video because he was kind of bantering him. He was kind of like going, oh, look at you stuffing your face. A bit of something like stuffing your face when I'm on a diet. Yeah. So I think he was just having a laugh with the guy. And also, like, if someone's on a diet or an alcoholic, you don't eat or drink in front of them.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
I know.
I'm going to starve myself just because you're on a diet? No way.
But I don't know. I don't know.
How am I going to eat my chips? Anyway, this week we've also seen a backlash at King's Cross Station due to the station displaying what many see as an inappropriate religious message on the board. There for everyone to see when they just want to know how late their train is going to be. Let's take a look at this image. There it is. It's an Islamic hadith. And I mean, I think the only sort of religious message that needs to be broadcast up on the board at King's Cross is Jesus praying for a train to be on time. I don't know. I mean,
or any other deity for that matter, as long as the train is on time.
Yeah. Jesus, Allah, Buddha, please just let me get home from work. But this again seems that we're sort of bending over backwards and making accommodations for one particular religion when, you know, I'm pretty sure they won't be putting Buddhist messages up or.
Well, people have to be so careful that they're even talking about these sort of things because people get so outraged about it. And I think the reality is there was a lovely message, but there are other lovely messages from other religions. And you either go down that route and say, OK, we're going to do Christianity today, and tomorrow you'll have a Buddhist message, and we'll have something from the Quran, whatever it is, and then you work on that sort of basis and people feel great about it. It's the reaction about it, and you've got to work out why are they doing it, because people are going to get offended. They're going to talk about it on shows like this, and the trouble is it could then spark offence. And what we don't want to do is on that sort of basis, can have a backlash against what might be a positive message.
I don't think it's a positive message. message. I think, we should have a secular state that doesn't broadcast religious messages and doesn't pick and choose particular religions to broadcast. I mean, I don't want to look up and see a sign from the Scientologists or the Moonies.
Christmas special. Don't celebrate. Celebrate religions. Kind of a Christmas special.
I feel like Christianity is different because that's this country is or was a Christian country. That's our foundations. That's our basis for our values and everything. Yeah. And all our laws and our institutions.
We're all suddenly really Christian. Do you know what I mean? Like they said, Christianity is dead in this country, and suddenly everyone's like, I'm a Christian.
Well, the thing is, I'm not Christian as in regular church attendance and stuff like that. Well, mostly because I think if you were a Christian, you probably wouldn't go to the Church of England. You know what I mean? It's like it's not Christian anymore. But I mean, I do still subscribe to the sort of Judeo-Christian values that this country was based on. The ideas of individual freedoms, individual rights.
Mm. But I remember having dry cleaners and I left my ring in and the guy said to me, I found your ring, this is for you. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know I'd lost it. And he went, I'm a Muslim, so I believe in not stealing. And I was like, lovely. I think a little bit of jealousy is coming from the Christian community at the moment. It's because the Muslims keep their faith. They're doing their fasting, they're proud of their scripture, whereas we have forgotten our scripture, we've forgotten fasting for Lent or giving up things, and now we're like, look at them, they're horrible, we're Christians. You're like, then act like them.
Well, I don't think they're saying they're horrible, but you make a great point about Christianity has kind of like lost its
whose fault is that? Who's in charge of Christianity in this country?
Exactly.
Church of England.
The Muslims.
The wokest, least Christian guy in the world.
As churches in England become emptier and emptier, and we were just talking about the flag, which is on the English flag, has been desecrated.
Yes.
Right? In parallel, we have more and more spaces occupied by Islam or Islamic teachings, being it whether it is the Palestinian flag on our lamppost, our monuments, our statues coming down, monuments desecrated, and now this.
The good news is, speaking of religious festivals, it's Easter, the most important time in the calendar for Christians. It commemorates the time Jesus came to earth as a bunny rabbit and laid an egg made of chocolate or something. I'm not a details guy. But supermarket chain Asda have decided this year to focus their marketing attentions on promoting the sizable market for halal eggs. Halal eggs for a Christian festival? Are they also going to bring out a range of bacon for Ramadan? I'm joking. I actually think that this is great. This is how we break down barriers between people. Everyone likes chocolate. Let's have a look at the picture of the egg. So these are halal certified eggs ready for this year's celebrations. I mean, I think this is great. I think everybody can agree.
I'm not sure about it.
It's totally good. I'll tell you what, there are 80 to 90 million eggs are consumed in the UK. I can guarantee there are not 80 to 90 million Christians. I think you don't. They don't check you when you go to the store.
Some of us eat more than one.
That's true. 8.8 eggs for the children, apparently. That's the statistics.
Oh my God! No wonder everybody's a beast. But Nicholas, you said you don't think this is a great.
Everybody who wants to participate, they are welcome to participate. But the woke left, as you very well know, are all about the opposing cultural appropriation. And these are Easter eggs. In this incident, they have been rebranded as celebration eggs, which is nothing. Which is just something made up. So they're not calling
them Easter eggs anymore.
Exactly.
But
it's
we
just
know
like Happy Holidays.
We know what they really are.
Happy Holidays as opposed to Merry
egg.
Christmas. Of course. But it starts. It's all in the name,
Yeah.
It's all in the name, as the Romans said in the ancient times. It starts with Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas, and then celebration eggs instead of Easter eggs. Easter is when our Lord and Savior rose up from the dead.
And he didn't eat an Easter egg.
Did he not eat?
So we don't need to panic, people.
What's the egg thing?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
It's about
Easter eggs. Our Easter eggs, they've been Islamified. Easter eggs are nothing to do with Jesus.
I think they are something to do with Jesus.
No, it's about rebirth. It's about rebirth. It's a symbol of rebirth.
It's about rebirth.
The more worrying statistic, however, is that the Easter bunnies, which were brought over from Germany because they were hares, a bit too scary, they became bunnies later. Majority of the people bite the ears off, and that's not a very Christian thing to do.
I eat them bum first.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. So there you go. Anyway, next on the Saturday Night Showdown, we'll be discussing why Jeremy Vine wants to take a leaf out of China's book and shut down Twitter. Well, this week, anti-white Archdeacon Miranda Threlfall-Holmes has said, let's have anti-whiteness and let's smash the patriarchy. That's not anti-white or anti-men, it's anti-oppression. Let's take a look at this tweet. Here she is. I went to a conference on whiteness last autumn. It was very good, very interesting, and made me realise whiteness is to race as patriarchy is to gender. So yes, let's have anti-whiteness and let's smash the patriarchy. That's not anti-white or anti-men, it's anti-oppression. I mean, that sounds like it's anti-white to me. I mean, she's literally saying we need to abolish whiteness. And this is after one training session. This is after one conference. I think even the Nazis needed more indoctrination than that.
I like the idea that next year we're going to have the equivalent of a Barbie movie where you get rid of the patriarchy, whatever the white one would be.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what, but it works on that basis. You're right. And this is the trouble. You're sort of demonising all sorts of things in the same way as the brilliant Lee Anderson interrogation, where you say, well, give us an example of where there's an advantage, and there isn't any evidence of that.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. If you're going to go on a seminar which teaches you that this is the premise, that you're going to go away with that premise, aren't you?
Yeah, unless you question the seminar and say, wait a minute, isn't this a load of nonsense that no taxpayers' money should be spent on? Anyway, moving on to Conspiracy Corner, actress Millie Bobby Brown has this week admitted that the Earth is round after previously expressing the belief that the Earth was flat. Although, to be honest, she doesn't sound that convinced. Let's have a look.
Millie, when you were 14 years old, you said on a TikTok live that you thought the Earth was flat.
Unfortunately, yes, I did.
Do you still believe this?
No.
She goes on to say that she's never seen the curvature of the Earth. I mean, yeah, you can't really see that from down on the ground. I guess stranger things have happened. Do you get it? Because she was in...
Yeah. Oh, very good. I thought you were going to do the old one about Flat Earth Society with members all around the globe. I thought go, tick in the old box, click for that one. No, I love it. And this is what happens. You can turn around. There are a lot of people who still believe it.
Yeah.
And that's the extraordinary thing.
Because it does look quite flat close up.
It does. Come here, this is flat.
Seeing any curvature. But yeah, I mean...
I was a bit mad, though. They said, when you were 14, you said... When I was 14, I said I was going to marry New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, so there you go.
I thought it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Right, if you're going to hold people to... Like, you said this when you were 14, like in a court of law. I said a lot of stuff when I was 14. Some of it I wish I still believed, but...
Well, yeah, and conspiracy theories are a bit of fun for most people. And we've seen recently that a lot of conspiracy theories have actually turned out to be credible.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Hunter Biden laptop scandal, which turned out to be true, the COVID lab leak theory, which turned out to be probable, or Epstein Island, which turned out to be a lot of fun for Stephen Hawking. But this week, Jeremy Vine suggested that we should take a page out of China's book and shut down Twitter because of conspiracy theories. Let's take a look.
And it's no accident that we're seeing out in Windsor at the weekend. They wanted that to happen because that's their way of saying she's getting better. She's out and about.
Yeah.
But the conspiracy theorists won't even have that. That's not her.
All I know. But I mean,
like...
Jenny, is there any argument to say this will sound crazy, but China does it? We've got to now take control of Twitter and shut it down for the time being.
I mean, Suzi even says China does it as if, it must be a good idea then. I mean, maybe we should do other things that China does.
I'm just shocked. Anyone could say shut down opinion.
Yeah.
Like, that actually makes me scared. Do you know what? I love people to have their opinion, and I can love to disagree with it.
Yeah, and that's what Twitter's all about. That's what a free marketplace...
Even Joe Biden has a Twitter account, even though it's banned in certain places and people can't have devices. So I think you work on that sort of basis. Don't shut down for freedom of speech.
Taliban and Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah
they all have
accounts.
it.
But let's not forget...
what you should...
Nobody would watch him. Nobody would watch legacy media in 10 years' time if they keep this trend, and that's what they're afraid of.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Right, up next, it's Mark Dolan tonight. What have you got for this evening, Mark?
Well, Leo, lots to get through. I have my answer to Nike. If you're listening on the radio, then let me tell you, I am holding up the Union flag. Woohoo! Because whilst GB
News
is...
St George Cross.
Well, that's exactly... Oh, that's exactly right. Blimey. I'll have alienated a few people with that. There you go. We're going to talk about woke madness in the country. Plus, my Mark Meets guest is remembering the Great Escape, one of the great feats of the Second World War. Plus the papers, plus my pundits. Big opinion, take it 10. Loads to get through.
Sounds brilliant, Mark. I'm going to be tuning in. Can't wait. And Nicholas, I mean, just before we go, we've seen that Nike are charging 90 quid for this strip. Do you think that we should go back to Umbro? That was a classic British manufacturer that made it cheaper, and it had the actual right flag in it.
Yeah, and the fans and the general population, actually it's more than 90 quid. I think 165 euros I saw, which is definitely more than 100
charging euros
quid.
for the English strip?
No, but the picture I saw, well, that would be even worse. But no, it's definitely more than 90 quid.
Yeah.
The kids version is 60 quid and upwards. But yeah, I think as long as you don't breach the rules of a free market and free competition,
yeah,
it is a good thing to
go to
look favourably at British.
Well, thanks to my brilliant panel tonight, comedians Nicholas De Santos, Suzi Kennedy and Andrew Eborn. See you again next week. And don't forget, Headliners is on as well tonight at 11 p.m. 3 comedians going through the news. Goodbye. See you next week.
Looks like things are heating up. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.